At the beginning, she dressed as a black bear woman, and at the end, she gained a home. Chopping firewood can upgrade the system, and the system can clock in with rewards. Rounding it down can strengthen the body, make a fortune, and become an immortal. A stable batch. So, start laying the foundation for cultivating immortals by chopping firewood. Keywords of the novel. Cultivation starts from chopping firewood to lay a foundation without pop-ups. Cultivation starts from chopping firewood to lay a foundation. Download the complete text, and cultivation starts from chopping firewood to lay a foundation. Latest chapters for reading. Chapter 1. Crossing the Black Bear Woodcutter Girl. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Crossing the Black Bear Woodcutter Girl. The morning breeze is cool, very cool at dawn. The roosters crowing all over the mountains and fields, with a loud and clear voice that makes people's minds clear. Zhu Dahua covered her ears and lifted her upper body, with the still starry sky above her head. She sat on a pile of firewood and slid down the straw to the ground. Time traveled. Oh. Traveling through a narrow area is not worth mentioning. Speaking of which, where is this? In the small farmyard, the fence is crooked and tied, and on the vine stands a crowing rooster, not very plump. The chicken coop is on the muddy low wall, and all the hens have come out, 3 of them, barely enough to make a pot of soup. The low wall is less than 1 person tall, and the roof is made of aged straw. A tuft of yellow and green tall grass gently sways on the roof, and the door is dark, with the sound of old coughs coming from it. An orphan daughter who relies on her grandfather for survival. This doesn't start very well. Once you come, be content with it. Zhu Dahua stretched lazily without a pillow, which is good news. Compared to the elderly, Zhu Dahua is more interested in eggs. She glanced at the chicken coop and turned to the water tank, calculating whether to have fried eggs or boiled eggs for breakfast. Wash your face and slowly start a new day, quiet, harmonious, and beautiful. After the stretching movement was completed, Zhu Dahua rolled up her sleeves and planned to scoop some water to wash her face. Sleeping slot. Zhu Dahua startled the person and jumped 3 feet high, taking several steps back. The chicken ran away from its feet, and the passing dogs barked loudly. Pressing the thump, unable to regain consciousness for a long time. What is that? Take another look. Calm down for a moment, Zhu Dahua moved to the water tank. It was already dawn and she could see more clearly. Zhu Dahua and his 2 companions shed tears, crouching beside the water tank with their heads buzzing, unwilling to even cover their faces with their hands. The old man walked out of the door, intending to start an ordinary and beautiful day. Glancing at Zhu Dahua in the corner, Lao Ming almost confessed on the spot. Where the bear is blind. Hey! Let's go. The old man grabbed a hoe and drove away, but was startled for a moment and didn't recognize anyone. After 3 terrifying minutes, he finally picked up his memory and said, Big Flower, did you eat it? You sound like a neighbor in the neighborhood. Zhu Dahua let go and stood up, scaring the old man back half a step. Not yet. The old man took out a worn-out old thin rattan basket, uncovered a piece of cloth, 2½ mantou inside, and made some sour gas. He scooped up 2 bowls of cold water and put them on the knee-high wooden table. This is breakfast. Zhu Dahua Temple is not very particular about people. 1 mouthful of mantou and 1 mouthful of cold water make people happy. The old man's face started to twitch a bit, and after taking a few bites of breakfast, he laughed and said, You can go back when you have finished eating. Mr. Bai is not a bad person, so there's no need to always run away from home. Who is Bai Xiaomei? You little child, why pretend not to recognize others? Bai Xiaomei has been raising you for many years, and how many people manage to eat? He couldn't continue as he spoke. Zhu Dahua rolled up her sleeves while listening, with brown old wounds and red new wounds intertwined, without any good flesh. After eating, my body became hot, and I felt a lot of itching all over. I thought I was smelling all over without proper hygiene, but I didn't know about these injuries. Zhu Dahua would rather rest on her pillow. If you want to stay here, just stay. I have to go up the mountain to chop firewood. The landlord's family sent someone to look for me, so you said you didn't meet me. I'll bring you some food another day. The old man grabbed a bundle of ropes, picked up a firewood knife, and hurriedly ran away. Ordinary people who don't like to cause trouble. Zhu Dahua nodded and watched as the person left. She turned around, got up, and ran to the chicken coop, pulling out 3 warm eggs and picking up the vegetables in the yard. In terms of diet, it is important to have a balanced diet, including vegetables, protein, and carbohydrates. At least these 3 elements are essential. The old man only dug up a pot, patched it a few times, and there was still air leakage, so he could only use half of the pot. Everywhere is the accommodation of elderly, poor, and single men. The original owner came here and died, what kind of grudge? Fortunately, the traveler has arrived, so it's not too much to avoid a case and have some good food. The smell of half a can of lard is too pungent, so it's better to use and cherish it for your own digestive system. Drill wood to make a fire and build a stove. Place a pot at an angle and boil water. Put the washed vegetables in, beat all 3 eggs in, and find a relatively clean board to cover it. Wait for 3 to 5 minutes to eat. Zhu Dahua tampered with the flames, and there were not many fragments of firewood left. Adding more would probably make it fully cooked. Well-cooked ones are more fragrant. The old man has a lot of whole firewood in his yard, and 1 whole firewood is too wasteful, but how did the firewood get chopped? Putting the firewood upright on the wooden stake, Zhu Dahua gestured with an axe, took a horse stance, and clenched the handle with both hands, probing and chopping. Dear host, your system has been credited. Please check your account carefully. The merciless mechanical voice. Without enough time to be numb, smoke rises around me, and the world turns gray and white. When I see something again, the world becomes new green. Zhu Dahua touched the trunk of the tree and looked around. There was no skyline or horizon, and this huge tree supported the whole world. Like a cage. Welcome to the world of banyan trees. This is too green, I can't open my eyes. Let's go back and talk about it if it's okay. Ancestral banyan tree. Absorbing the spiritual energy of the world to achieve the essence of solo living. If left unchecked, this world will collapse, and the host cannot escape death. The main task of the host is to chop down this tree and save the world. Zhu Dahua gradually adapted and glanced at the size of the tree before deciding to give up. Hiss. You send me back to the world where I truly exist. I contact logging companies, and their work is professional and fast. Do you understand? Reward for completing the task. 1 chance to soar on the road. Such an important matter, who would give up on me? Zhu Dahua moved her shoulder, and the axe in her hand was missing a hole, and most of it was rusty. Compared to the towering old tree, it was like a bacteria. But trying doesn't hurt. Host accepted task, holding this old axe towards the trunk. Golden lines appeared on the trunk. Is it just a 1-time success in chopping at this? It's too simple. Zhu Dahua took a breath and immediately let go. System, I won't be okay with cutting at the golden pattern, right? Unable to convince herself, how could it be simple? The system has no echo. It's been a long time without any response. Is it crooked? Completely idle. What should we do? It's impossible to stay here all the time. There's not even a bird's nest, and it's too rough to survive by gnawing on tree bark. Zhu Dahua once again probed and slashed, and the whole person flew backwards, closing the green world. Falling into the original farmhouse courtyard, my whole body was painful, and I couldn't understand in one breath. I sprayed out a mouthful of blood, coughed several times, and the blood almost choked into my lungs. The whole person is not doing well. Host to exit Banyan Tree World. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 1 attribute point, Task 1. Perform 50 effective slashes, complete today's clock in, and obtain 1 small return pill. Zhu Dahua opened her fiery eyes and saw a simple system interface, only a counter. I can't even stand up now. You're making things difficult for me by chopping my waist like this. Seeking collection, comments, tips, recommendation tickets, and monthly tickets for influencers. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Walking on Earth with Integrity. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Walking on Earth with Integrity. Zhu Dahua tried to move her waist, her whole body stiffened, and the pain made her soul fly. It took a long time to recover, and there was no second living person in the farmyard. System, you should think of a way to make me stand up first. The system didn't answer, it's such a ruthless machine. There was a small figure behind the fence, peeking inside. Zhu Dahua quickly called out, "Child, come over." The more you shout, the faster the children run, and in the blink of an eye, there is no trace. Damn it. There is a lot of steam on half of the iron pot, and the dishes must have been overcooked, but the eggs are probably fine. Instead of waiting for the old man to come back and settle accounts, it's better to take 1 bite at a time. Move it a little, my soul is trembling. Try to hold a firewood mat and don't wash your hands if you don't touch chicken droppings on the ground. If you don't look at the ground, this is a high-end restaurant. Pure rural and pastoral style. When I climbed to the edge of the simple stove, I happened to take off the wooden board covering it and overcooked it. The egg yolks were clear one by one, but the protein was all fed into the iron pot. I broke 2 thin wooden sticks and quickly pulled the egg yolk to eat. The people in that child's village may have already called for someone to come over. How to explain why I fell half paralyzed after boiling vegetables and eggs? System, what are those points used for? Is it crooked? Not at all cute. Not finished yet, a group of people rushed over, and Zhu Dahua saw it. She quickly straightened her posture, dared to eat, and stood straight. Hissed, the soul trembles again. Breaking the system and killing the old lady. Zhu Dahua, your face is getting thicker and thicker, said a man with a square head and short neck, who looked very capable of hitting. He habitually glanced at the situation in the yard and didn't pay much attention, only saying, "The agent asked you to go back." I'll go back in a while," Zhu Dahua said solemnly. The guard said impatiently, "The staff member asked you to go back, immediately. If I don't get up, what can you do?" Zhu Dahua retorted, and a group of people gathered around to lift someone. Zhu Dahua quickly raised her hand to stop. "My whole body is injured. If you dare to move, I dare to die. If you have the ability to move one." Shocked by the power of the banyan tree world, all the scars on my body cracked open, and now I am 8/10 like a blood man. Why did grandma beat people up like this? Eat something, what's the big deal? It's really tough. The guard reached out and suppressed the conversation, judging that Zhu Dahua was really seriously injured and couldn't get up. He frowned and took half of the people away. The other half stayed to watch people. Zhu Dahua was sweating profusely and had to give her all when she moved. What kind of grandma? If you dare to be so cruel to me, I can't resist her body now. What kind of check did I n, Xiaohuandan? Can it treat internal injuries? System. No response. You say, if I go back, will I die? Zhu Dahua asked heavily, exuding a philosophical feeling of seeing through life and death. Leaving those caretakers around to talk about him has no value at all. The leader of the courtyard guard is the mouth, and he will be back soon. This time, with a woman wearing red gauze and pearls on a rural dirt road, it seems out of place. Zhu Dahua, I'm warning you, don't be shameless. When did I hit you? Tell me clearly. Fan Feng is full of makeup, it's not difficult to guess her profession. The courtyard guard felt a bit embarrassed. Grandma didn't even give him face, except for the staff and Mississippi. When the Heavenly King and Laozi arrived, she dared to say such a thing. With a severe headache, the guard turned to Zhu Dawadeo and said, "Don't doubt it. The steward's intention is to invite you back. The sedan chair has already been called, and the brothers are relatively safe." The words fell into a mournful voice. Zhu Dahua chuckled, and the fence was empty. She could see clearly that the sedan chair outside looked like it had been built with a compass chair and two sticks strung together. It was a temporary construction, and going up there would be punishment. "I can't do it. Let's wait until I recover from my injury." Grandma couldn't stand Zhu Dahua putting on airs and would pull people when she went up, but instead she was pushed aside by the guards. These people have the same heart as the staff, but they don't really look up to Grandma. If the staff member can really help, they will not be bullied and injured all over. There must be fraud, and we cannot go back. The courtyard guard, who was rejected twice, clenched their fists and bid farewell. Others couldn't bear to watch anymore, but they were still honest and didn't forcefully pull Zhu Dahua. The guard hasn't returned yet, and a long-bodied person slowly drifts down from the sky. He wore a diamond-shaped dark-bottomed long coat with a slim face and no expression, looking fierce. He smiled with a sinister intent. Grandma ran to him with joy and confirmed that it was the employee himself. "Dahua, I made some fried goods in the room. Go and see if there's anything you like to eat." The staff member was very skeptical and could tell at a glance that it was an internal injury. "I can't do this if I don't kill myself. Are there any other experts here?" There was no trace of any experts in the nursing home report, and the information transmission was completed in a blink of an eye. Zhu Dahua saw him pretending to be blind, but it can be said that fried goods are really so important to her. Her body is not oily and her belly is empty. "Really, then I have to go." "Oh, I can't go. Can you give me the endpoint?" At this moment, a group of onlookers gathered not far from the residential area, pointing and pointing. Grandma went to drive people, but on the contrary, more and more people were being driven. The whole family bullied the orphan girl. What kind of person is that? The young lady is a good person. An orphan girl. There's no one at home, the protagonist comes standard. Zhu Dahua laughed, but instead took advantage of the situation to howl out the true pain. "I have endured the pain of bone breaking for a long time." The shout was extremely tragic, and the villagers spoke even more urgently. Daring to say so about a person who can fly only indicates that the staff member is someone who wants face, otherwise it would be difficult for the people who take farts to save their lives. As expected, the staff member couldn't sit still after listening to people's discussions and called on the villagers to explain, "Don't be impatient, villagers. Dahua is fine, and even if there is something, I will be responsible for curing it. This is my responsibility." Zhu Dahua didn't listen to anything else but heard him say he was responsible. If everything is cured, then the relationship will be good. But this is not good enough. There is a limit to development, which is disproportionate to the possible suffering. This is not good. If I don't go back, I'll stay here. Dahua, if you have any requests, just say, in front of my fellow villagers, I am someone who never refuses. Zhu Dahua said, "What the staff member said is so unfair. I, Zhu Dahua, walked through the world with integrity, but when I arrived at your house, I was injured all over. Can you explain how this was done? I'm afraid I'll go back with you. This is the last time I'll see my fellow villagers." The injuries all over were real, and Bai Yuany's face was burning with pain. "Zhu Dahua, if you just let it go, I will protect you from now on. No one dares to harm you. Otherwise, with my ability as a foundation-building cultivator, it will be easy for the gods to unknowingly kill you." Zhu Dahua couldn't deliver the message like this and looked at the staff member with a smile. "Okay, I just have one request." End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Good first-hand resource exchange. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Good first-hand resource exchange. To be frank, I have nothing to refuse, Bai Xiaomei smiled proudly. Zhu Dahua, the ninja, stood up in excruciating pain and clasped her fists, saying, "Give me a job. I want to go to your house to chop firewood." What? This is, poor child. No one is injured like this and still needs to work. My heart is about to break. It's better to wait until you're better and consider it again. It's not a good thing to stay away from someone else. Let's go back now. The injury needs to be cured, said Bai Xiaomei in a fit of anger. The old man hid in the crowd and poked his head, accepting some silver money. Zhu Dahua is not good at chasing after words. Where can one speak better than a group of people building momentum? The Bai family courtyard is not very large, with 3 long brick and tile houses, and a red brick wall. The corner eaves are surrounded by a red painted gate, which looks generous and tidy. This requires closing the door and speaking. Life and death cannot be controlled by oneself. Zhu Dahua fell off her chair, and suddenly, without anyone on guard, she fell in front of everyone. Standing up again in front of everyone, "I'll go to work right away. Please don't kill me, officer. I know I'm wrong." The momentum was strong, but it walked slowly and screamed miserably, slowly, not moving at all. I haven't seen such a tragic event in the village for a long time, and the number of people has increased without decreasing. "Villagers, this, we keep explaining, you can cure Big Flower's injury today. Yes, we can't rest assured if you don't cure it. Dahua came here when she was 3 years old, and we watched her grow up. How can we bear to see you mistreat her so badly, and how can you bring such heartfelt feelings?" Bai Xiaomei hated Zhu Dahua deeply and took out a jade vase. "I'm curing her now, but it's not because someone Bai is feeling guilty, but because of their love and compassion for the younger generation," he said. Zhu Dahua raised her eyebrows, showing pity, "But there's no need. In front of everyone, if there is really anything unexpected, there is really nothing we can do. We have done everything we can. With the world and system of banyan trees, one may not necessarily die." Taking the pill, Zhu Dahua stared into Bai Xiaomei's eyes and swallowed it in one gulp. At the entrance of the vermilion pill, there was a hot breath that had not been tasted yet. The fragrance of the medicine permeated the lips and teeth, causing itching and scabbing of the wound. The recovery was surprisingly fast. "But black and white, it looks a bit ugly. Has this body been poisoned with stubborn poison?" Zhu Dahua suspected, but there was no evidence. After the injury was healed, there was no reason not to enter Bai Xiaomei's house. The admiration of the villagers for Bai Xiaomei was like a flowing river, wishing they could confess him. Living Bodhisattva. Bai Xiaomei also enjoys such a good reputation. Vanity. Zhu Dahua quickly bowed and thanked the villagers one by one, with a runny nose and tears in her eyes. After parting ways, she ran into the courtyard to grab firewood. Grandma was turned away by Bai Xiaomei and fortunately came to the side of Agent Bai. "I think Zhu Dahua is strange. Do envoys insist on seeing people? I used to give things and then leave." Bai Xiaomei opened a barrier and said, "Zhu Dahua is 13 years old and will be returning to her clan in 2 more years. Trials are definitely essential, after all, she is the only daughter of her mistress. So what? If she can take care of her, Zhu Dahua won't be in our hands anymore. Unfortunately, where can we find money to support Mayor's journey to the Immortal Gate?" "Mayor, you don't have to worry. Go and establish a good relationship with Zhu Dahua, give her something to cooperate with, say a good word to you, and receive more rewards. Grandma is still uncomfortable and unwilling to come into contact with Zhu Dahua." Zhu Dahua learned to chop firewood and covered her face with shock with labor. Does she not even avoid people when speaking? A piece of scale tail on the firewood pile disappeared in a flash, and Zhu Dahua rubbed her eyes. "Perhaps my eyes are dizzy from hunger. The original owner was placed in foster care here, and all the things given by the family were confiscated. Everyone was killed, so you cut off all the things for your own children. Good resource exchange, I'll change my life another day. No, are the original owners fools, or are they fools? Returning to my hometown, this matter is quite mysterious. Whether it's good or not is dangerous. Actively chopping firewood, sweating profusely. Grandma twisted her waist and brought a plate of fried fish. Dahua, you're tired, come and have some food, she said. It looks golden and delicious. Suck and slide. But I dare not eat, so conflicted. I'm not tired, I must work hard to repay your nurturing kindness. Zhu Dahua forced herself to shift her gaze away from the fried fish. Wood is the future, so she quickly activated that kind of check that in. Only by allowing the system to develop can one's own life be more secure. With this thought, there is an endless amount of strength all over my body. Grandmother begged me uninteresting. She didn't cultivate immortality, and the stationed yen dan she wanted was not from the envoy's hands. She had no interest in flattering Zhu Dahua. She put down the plate, tilted her body and looked at it, saying, if you had been so good, I wouldn't have hit you anymore. Zhu Dahua was speechless, but saw a piece of firewood move and roll horizontally to the feet of the old lady. The latter turned around and left, not looking at the way, but missed a step and fell on a big horse. Grandmother wailed. Before she could even get up, the top of the firewood pile shook and the sticks fell like rain. The extremely disheveled grandmother ran as if fleeing. Zhu Dahua noticed the axe in her hand, which had an uncontrollable drive towards her grandmother's back, and almost let go and flew out. If we fly out, we'll have to take human life. Fortunately, I caught it, otherwise someone would have died. I can't get rid of it. There were many people standing behind the paper window, and Zhu Dahua looked at it. The axe sank into her hand. Who's causing trouble? I can't find it at all. Grandma didn't scream for nothing, the room was full of concubines. Zhu Dahua, someone has arrived in the front room. The receptionist asked you to tidy up and go over. Oh. Zhu Dahua didn't like the style of the clothes, so she went to see the envoy in blood clothes. The envoy didn't say anything, and the agent was very embarrassed. Miss, she's used to being wild. After all, she's the only daughter of her mistress. Hey, I did my best. Bai Xiaomei speaks out loud. The envoy was dressed in black and powerful attire. For Zhu Dawadeo, Miss, Gu came this time to test the spiritual roots. The 5-element spiritual plate is a lower-level magical tool. At the moment it comes out, it does not show any blood color on the face of Bai Xiaomei. Zhu Dahua was puzzled, was it not Bai Xiaomei who was hiding something? It's really unethical. How to measure it? Zhu Dahua was impatient and seriously suspected that her spiritual roots were gone. Wait a moment, Bai Xiaomei regained a trace of blood and said with shame, the envoy was unaware that the young lady was harmed by criminals and was only rescued. She has not yet recovered. She is already young, and if there is any deviation in her assessment, it will not harm her. From Bai's perspective, it will take some time to recuperate. The envoy pulled out a ring and waved it towards the table, filling the table with jade bottles and shining with treasure. It's okay, the mistress has prepared enough pills for the young lady, and taking them will immediately cure her, he said. Good guy, come back to me for this matter. Give me something. It's all mine. To whom? I'm so angry. No, the envoy will be sent away, it's all for the sake of this terrible old man. Bai Xiaomei was overjoyed and took the lead, saying, pills cannot be used. All the pills given by the mother.in.law are poisonous. Look at how she's been eating them. Gap meter. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. No spiritual roots found. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. No spiritual roots found. The envoy remained silent about this. Bai Xiaomei was present, and Zhu Dahua was unable to ask as she pleased. In addition, she was uncertain about the identity of the envoy and could not be trusted. I can't stay at home to support my family, and my future is uncertain when I return to my hometown. Zhu Dawadeo, since the staff member doesn't allow me to test, I won't test. I'll go chop firewood. Miss, please stay. Do you call me? Zhu Dahua looked at Yuan Bai with a fearful expression, who quickly explained to the envoy. The envoy stopped him and said, I don't want to hear the explanation. Bai Yuanwei also doesn't want to entangle with the envoy. The envoy sent by the main mother is very annoying. Then he turned to Zhu Dahua and coaxed him, Dahua, go rest. Leave the rough work to the servants. In the past, Zhu Dahua, who was 3 times helpless and 7 times fearful, only had the ability to listen and even thanked him for a moment of peace. But at this moment, the smile was a bit eerie. Zhu Dahua originally planned to chop firewood 50 times before taking Xiaohuandan. Mr. Kobai's attitude of coaxing children is very frustrating. Dare to remain the same inside and outside. How many things do you take from me? Don't you count in your heart? Why is your face so thick? If it weren't for being unable to fight, I would have killed you. That's right, he's going to send the envoy away now. My mother is in danger. It seems like the envoy is still the same as before. If it were the order of the main mother, we wouldn't invite white staff to be seen outside. Even poisonous pills are better than none, and even more so than giving them all. Bai Yuanwei knows that it is toxic and knows how to purify it. Peaceful coexistence fundamentally does not exist. If you are in a hurry to die, then get out of here. Zhu Dahua continued with Bai Yuanwei's words, feeling aggrieved, Officer, what did I do when you hired other workers? If there's anything I can't do well, I'll tell you. I'll make changes and don't drive me away. Miss, where do you start with this? Even if you don't do anything, your clothing, food, housing, and transportation should be the best. Bai Yuanwei complained incessantly, calling out to see ghosts. Grandma said she was strange, and she didn't believe it. Zhu Dahua dared not entangle like this before. Messenger, I love to work. Don't stop me, anyone who stops me will be in a hurry. I treat Dahua better than my own daughter, but after she was attacked by a mysterious expert, she looked like a different person. The envoy stood in silence. Upon seeing this, Bai Yuanwei knew that he had not brought the communication jade plaque, so he felt relieved. Please ask the envoy to investigate 1 or 2, so that I can explain to the mistress. I will find a way to help the young lady recover. The envoy nodded, he had the intention. Zhu Dahua cannot let the envoy leave under any circumstances. His attitude indicates a high probability of giving up on himself. Mr. Bai used the excuse of feeling unwell and most likely left. He's really not sticking to the pot. No one can rely on it. As they spoke, Zhu Dahua ran out, as if someone was competing with her for work. Carrying firewood with an axe, before it could be chopped down, a mouthful of blood spurted out. The maid, who was happily eating fried fish, was so frightened that she fell to the ground and said, Zhu Dahua has vomited blood. Come and have someone. The whole house was busy, and Counselor Bai was anxious to cross over. Such a commotion would definitely disturb the Zhu family. There won't be any life-threatening danger, but most likely they will also be blamed for mishandling and taking away some elixirs and spirit stones. The envoy released his divine sense and soon retrieved it. Miss, you have been injured like this, so you must inform your family. Can you lend me the jade plaque from outside the official? Of course I can, but my jade plaque has been lost recently. Zhu Dahua closed her eyes when she heard them talking. To some extent, the two of them are the same type of person, they don't scatter eagles unless they see rabbits. If there is a problem with the spiritual root, it is mostly the home that cannot be returned. This body looks sturdy, but it's actually an empty shell, and if you go against it a little, you'll burp your butt. You must take good care of it for a while. The conditions do not allow it. Zhu Dahua continued to chop firewood while no one was around. It depends on whether the system is awesome. Invalid chopping, no attribute rewards, please host keep up the effort, I am not fully healthy and dare not give it my all. Hardly chop firewood, but with even more injuries. The power of ineffective chopping and rebounding is slightly weaker, but it can also be quite damaging. The system doesn't seem to be here to help oneself, it's more like someone who abuses oneself. Capitalize one tragic character. The maid found Zhu Dahua, who only asked the messenger to measure the spiritual roots. The envoy arrived, and Zhu Dahua arrived at the door of the wing room, leaning against the wall. No one should pretend to help, said, I'm afraid time is running out. My lifelong wish is to know what kind of spiritual root I am. Only you can help me, Lord Messenger. Okay, then. The envoy took out the 5-element spirit plate and handed it to Zhu Dahua. Put your hand on it to show the true spiritual root quality of the young lady. Bai Xiaomei followed and jumped hastily, giving Zhu Dahua consecutive glances. Zhu Dahua didn't go to see Bai Xiaomei. Although her future may seem bleak, for some unknown reason, she had to remain gloomy. Place the bear claw on the spiritual plate without any movement, and the spiritual energy of the lower-level magical tool is also disappearing. No need to test, I will report this matter to the family. Not only does it lack spiritual roots, but even the martial arts meridian is broken, and the limbs are not connected. Instead, it absorbs spiritual energy to nourish. This child is living too hard, and even with a heart of iron and stone, he cannot help but take care of it. Ambassador, do you want to disobey the master's intentions? Bai Xiaomei saw it exposed and tore his face apart. I came on behalf of my mistress, and I have never been an old master. Without much words, he was the first to burst out with luck. Bai Xiaomei released the treasure and all the affairs outside disappeared. In the center of the flat courtyard, a large pit suddenly appeared. Mom, you're really a fairy. Fortunately, I didn't fight here, otherwise my life would have rested. Go and get some pills. Let's talk about whether they are toxic or not. Zhu Dahua moved and felt dizzy. Her feet softened and she slid down the door frame. Whether going to the main house or the backyard, it's not something that can be done with the current physical condition. Resting against the wall, in a daze, I saw a woman in white passing by the door, drifting by like nothing. After only 2 or 3 minutes of staying alert, I was awakened by the noise, surrounded by a group of women, children, and baggage in the courtyard. Have you finished playing? They saw the deity enshrined in the room and broke their waist, thinking that it was Bai Xiaomei who had died. They rushed to pack up their belongings and left, currently rummaging through boxes and cabinets. If it weren't for being at the door, the bed would have been lifted off, and even the bed would have been moved away, leaving me insane. Miss, how will these people be dealt with? The person returning is an envoy. Bai Xiaomei claimed to be a foundation-building cultivator. If he were stronger, even if he were a master or servant, he would not be able to obey a useless person. People leave things behind. They are all old ladies' things. After a while, the people were gone and the bags scattered throughout the yard. The envoy said, I will take care of you until your health improves, and then you will take care of yourself. This kind of situation is not allowed in the practice family. Abandoned by the family. The spiritual root is so important. Zhu Dahua replied, I understand, but I miss my mother day and night. Is she still okay? End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Uncertain Future. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Uncertain Future. The auspicious person of the main mother has her own celestial phenomena. With the young lady's filial piety, I will definitely bring her along. Filial piety, you hammer. My mother is not good, and you all abuse me. Zhu Dahua nodded slowly and said, my mother will definitely get better. I've been looking forward to seeing her again for 10 years. Hiss, miss, the mistress has given you the creation pill, do you want to use it? What are you grinding and chattering about? Hurry up and take it out. Of course I need to use it to treat my injury. Cough. After taking the Zhaohua pill, you can walk around in a short while, and the discomfort has mostly subsided. Your face is itching hard. Seeing that Zhu Dahua could move, the envoy turned and left. Find that non-existent expert. The ground was covered with packages, revealing some broken silver and gold jewelry, waiting for Zhu Dahua to pick them up. Zhu Dahua didn't feel in the mood. This pill is poisonous, although not fatal, it has a rotten face. If the original owner keeps eating until it's too big, the damage to the body is almost irreversible, at least the face, it's difficult to look good. There are pill bottles on the table in the main room, with spiritual energy swirling around. Zhu Dawadeo, it's not as good as the solid skin I got from chopping firewood to scare people. The sky is getting dark, and I haven't played my card yet today. Zhu Dahua rubbed her waist, and there was something that Counselor Bai said quite well. The original owner really didn't do any heavy work. Maybe it's because I'm young that I managed to avoid it. 50 times, the sweat dries before it is completed. Congratulations to the host for completing the effective 50 slashes, system level 0, enable clock in function, do you want to clock in? Daily check that IN completed, reward 1 lower grade small return pill, please check it carefully, host, lower grade Xiaohuan Dan. All mortals recover, ineffective for chi cultivation and above reaching out and holding onto the elixir, the latter floats like a ball of light in the palm of your hand, it looks really nice. Believe it or not, can this thing be eaten? Zhu Dahua took Xiao Huandan and his sore body was stretched out by a spiritual energy. With just one breath, his body felt like it could chop firewood for another day. System, how do I obtain spiritual roots? Spiritual root. The human body comes with its innate origin, detected strong desire of the host for spiritual roots, activated main quest, task 2. Obtain spiritual roots. Content 1. 2 attributes are required to activate the level 0 counter attribute, currently only known in one place. Directly, it's just a bit wasting. Enter the world of banyan trees. Clouds pass by, the world appears, and the green birdcage is still so fresh. Zhu Dahua searched carefully and found a thinner branch at the edge of the tree. The golden silk thread makes the green bark look expensive. It's quite mysterious. According to the golden line, attribute points can be obtained. If not, then let's mourn all night. Tomorrow, I will clock in and get Xiaowadan. After recovering, I will honestly go and chop down the main tree. After making a clear decision, Zhu Dahua wielded a firewood knife and started chopping. Blown out of the world of banyan trees. Attribute *1, there are 2 attribute points in total, activate level 0 counter, content 2. Accumulated. 1000 effective hacks, upgraded to level 1, opened them all, and started the task panel. I want spiritual roots. Is there anything available for sale in the mall? How much is it? Reward junior treasure chest *1, good guy. I can't move until I clock in tomorrow. The 0/1000 in front of me is quite eye-catching. I split 50 times today and it's almost done. Who knew I was still a patient? Just about to open the box. Miss, why are you injured again? Isn't it that mysterious expert attacking you again? The envoy returned and released his divine sense to check, but couldn't find anyone else's breath. Zhu Dahua trembled all over and the pain flew up. Without explanation, she asked, how is Mr. Bai doing? I ran away. Oh. One of the protagonist's theorems is that if it weren't for the protagonist personally understanding the grudges, then the grudges wouldn't have ended. The city does not deceive me. You can stay for a few days for now. The next day. Zhu Dahua got up early to chop firewood, and only chopped firewood. The envoy remained silent and hired villagers to do other things. Zhu Dewaquan cannot hear or see what is happening outside, and is determined to increase the frequency of chopping firewood. Get a small return pill by checking in daily. If the thunder doesn't change, a pill can last up to 100 times at most, and it will take at least 10 days to count to full. During this period, the envoy may leave at any time. It doesn't matter if he leaves, he cleans up the outside of Bai Yuan and goes wherever he likes, but he doesn't. Zhu Dahua had to make plans for her future life. Xiao Huandan is not enough, can you refine it yourself? Detected that the host has a strong desire to learn, initiate side quest. Alchemy, alchemist level 1 to level 9, with the highest level being level 1 and the lowest level being level 9. Each level is divided into 3 levels. Upper, middle, and lower. Alchemists can be the main profession, the host can first refine it into a pill on their own, and then participate in exams to improve their level. Does the host choose alchemy? Today's Xiaohuandan has been used up and the count has reached 789/1000. If you don't have the strength to continue, even if you add 10 tons of fried fish, you won't be able to straighten your waist. Zhu Dahua sat on the stone steps, and the temporary servants had already moved the rice and noodles into the house. With sufficient food and a new owner, the envoy would definitely leave. The most crucial thing is to deal with the enemy. He definitely didn't do it. Refining, how to refine. Beginner alchemy experience opportunity *1, unlocked successfully, host randomly obtains. Shujin Tang concentrated solution formula, preparation for collection. 1 yuan y shou ben *1, 20 huan hun chao *20, 0.5 deer horn *1 liter, sangshan tears *1 liter, samadhi fire, 1 inferior alchemy furnace *1, boil overnight to obtain. Shujin Tang concentrated liquid *1. Medication level. 9th grade effective use. Soothing muscles and bones, restoring strength usage. Dilute shower to prevent furnace explosion. It is necessary to build a foundation and provide protection during the construction period. What about exploding the furnace and refining nuclear bombs? The 4 directions are uncertain, and I don't have the heart to refine pills. As for why others come up to refine pills and brew concentrated liquids themselves, they don't have the heart to care about it. Zhu Dahua saw the envoy return, and there was no news from Bai Yuanwei today. Ambassador, are you leaving soon? Yes, please take care, Mississippi. The envoy clasped his fists in both hands. Oh, envoys are practitioners. Do they recognize some herbs? Zhu Dahua didn't know anyone else either. Since he is leaving, let's leave the last ripple behind. It's not in vain to have encountered one. Recognize some. What does Miss want to do? I want to refine pills. Could you please help me protect the Dharma for the last time? The envoy also wants to see if there is any need to rescue this only daughter of the main mother. If the mud really can't support the wall, then he did his best. On the path of cultivation, he was most afraid of encountering inner demons. Out of this consideration, he readily agreed. Now the entire Bai family belongs to Zhu Dahua. Dig 3 feet into the ground and gather 3 pieces of material. Others were busy preparing materials and carrying the elixir, while Zhu Dahua studied Bai Yuanwei's handwritten manuscript and figured out a solution. The pills given by the old mother are each given a poison, and this poison is called Wuyan. As the name suggests, once poisoned, one will lose face in public. My old mother, why are you doing this? The colorless toxin is very low and mainly acts on the face. If not eaten properly, it cannot kill people. The method of detoxification is also very simple. Stop intake, the body metabolizes toxins, and naturally restores its original appearance. Seeking collection, comments, tips, recommendation tickets, and monthly tickets for influencers. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Heart Piercing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Heart-piercing. It's a pity to incorporate the colorless pill monster, but in order to maintain a healthy lifestyle, it's better not to take it. Zhu Dahua flipped back and forth through the handwritten copy of the staff member, writing it very carefully, and even some brief diaries. What, there are 10 wash marrow pills. It's all for Bai Xiaomei. My mother's top-grade fire spirit root, dug up, and given to Bai Xiaomei again. 300 lower-grade spirit stones and 2 middle-grade spirit stones, used to buy a house and a concubine. I plan to have 200 children, damn it. The yield is very low, mostly without spiritual roots, which is very sad. You deserve it. Zhu Dahua didn't expect that the staff would still write a diary. With 300 lower-grade spirit stones, she would live in the village for a lifetime, comfortably and with someone to serve. That's great. I quite enjoy life. Write the diary in the pill book, sell it second-hand, and it's worth some money. Miss, can you do it? The envoy saw that there was something wrong with Zhu Dahua and was afraid that he would waste something. Zhu Dahua looked at him in confusion. If it doesn't work, there's no need to waste these materials. Just sell them, they'll be enough for you to have 100 years of prosperity. Breaking away from cultivation and becoming an ordinary person is not necessarily a good thing. These things are enough for me to eat and drink for a lifetime. Without natural or man-made disasters, it is natural to do so. Don't say it, I'm afraid I'll change my mind. Flip to the page of the concentrated solution of Shujin Tang and studied it carefully. The protagonist must have the protagonist's consciousness. Natural and man-made disasters cannot be avoided. In recent days, the villagers have had a lot of opinions, and Bai Xiaomei has been receiving treatment in the village for free. His skills only recently improved slightly, and the people who came to see him came from 100 miles away. The locals know that he is not here, and those who come to seek medical treatment are unaware. Why don't you let him in? The staff member is kind-hearted. If you drive him away, you will face retribution. Who is making a fuss outside? Zhu Dahua cannot concentrate on research, her safety cannot be guaranteed, and she always feels threatened. How can she learn this? I don't know who opened the door, but 2 wooden carts were stuck horizontally on the threshold, covered with white cloth, and paper money flew away, causing crying. Not pushing in is because there is a big pit in the front yard. In order to avoid exploding the house, the furnace was placed in a pit. The inferior alchemy furnace has a rough texture and is very bulky, requiring a huge amount of firewood. A few days ago, I chopped a lot because it should be enough to burn. The old man came representing public opinion. Dahua, do you still feel happy after avenging yourself? Uncle, the money Yuan Bai gave you is enough to live. If it is not enough, I will give it to you again. You can't eat 3 eggs, a handful of vegetables and a mantou for nothing. Zhu Dahua smiled innocently and spoke in a voice as loud as a cow's roar. The old man blushed and chuckled, giving a low tone and saying, "How old I am, I'm not here to make things difficult for you. The villagers want Bai Xiaomei to come back. Now Bai Xiaomei is living in a grass house in the Little Wolf Demon Forest, and they have already sent someone to invite him. In my opinion, if you can cure the person, there may still be some turning point." Zhu Dahua shook her head and refused the offer from an unknown source, saying, "Hurry up and invite, the sooner the better." The old man was puzzled. In front of everyone's eyes, Zhu Dahua raised her arms and shouted, "If anyone can bring back the steward before dark, I am willing to give away all my belongings as a token of gratitude. Please ask the villagers to bring back the steward. He has supported me for 10 years and is as close as his biological father. I miss him so much. Big flowers are so filial. My child is so filial, I will die in peace. Express horses at the relay station, please bring the staff back now." The rural neighbors have lost all their sharpness and have returned to a friendly and amiable appearance. The envoy raised his eyebrows and said, "Miss, it's a pity. Gu has been waiting all night." "You said again, even if the young lady knows how to refine pills, there is no spiritual energy entering her body, and she cannot cultivate immortality or elevate the foundation of alchemy, such as samadhi fire. After speaking, he lit up a small flame in his hand and threw it towards the bottom of the alchemy furnace. The flames surged on the ground, shining red, white, and blue. Heart-piercing. Well, you put everything inside and watch to prevent it from exploding. Where is Miss going? Zhu Dahua grabbed the chopping stick and said, "Go chop some firewood, go back as soon as you go. You don't need to call me when the staff member comes back, just follow the local rules. The elixir of forging a hammer, the system is the grand road for me. Unfortunately, the most inconspicuous task of chopping firewood is the key. Spiritual energy generates fire." The envoy sighed and was very disappointed with Zhu Dahua. What future can chopping wood have? When I grow up, I can only become a woodcutter. Since it's okay for her to survive alone, there's no need for her to stay. Give your last sense of responsibility, guard overnight, and the envoy bid farewell without saying goodbye. Successfully checked in and obtained. Xiao Huan Dan *1, the person has left, how is my stove doing? Zhu Dahua hurriedly went to take a look. The stove was warm, and after opening the lid, a scent of medicine wafted out, followed by a faint burnt smell. Is this considered a success or not? If it doesn't work out, relying on it today, we can cut down the number of times in one fell swoop. If it doesn't work out, these 2 days will be quite dangerous. Lower grade Shujin Tang concentrated liquid, made by dry burning the materials, has poor quality and is not recommended for use by the host. It is priced at 801 copper coins in the market, should we recycle it? 801 copper coins, suffered a disastrous loss, and 100 years of clothing and food money dissipated into the clouds. Alchemy is equivalent to burning money. Recycling. System level 0 cannot store entities. Should the host withdraw immediately? Zhu Dahua dodged the person and said, "Withdrawal." A money bag fell and landed firmly on the ground. Divide it in half and give it to the patient who is blocking the door, Zhu Dahua said, "I grew up under the hands of a white clerk. He often teaches me to be compassionate and compassionate. If he is not here, I cannot cure this disease. Take the money and go find a doctor, don't delay treatment. Dahua is not a bad person either, keep it, don't delay." The old man came to help the field. Seeing that it was a descendant of Bai Xiaomei, it was not easy to cause trouble. They drove the donkey in the carriage, carrying the patient, and then left. Zhu Dahua asked the old man, "Uncle, when will Counselor Bai come back? If he comes back, he will be finished with his own life. Perhaps there is nothing to do in the eyes of the villagers for the time being, but the other party may really dare to kill him. A waste abandoned by the family. Please go, I'm not sure when you'll be back yet." "I'll come back, damn it." Zhu Dahua moved the wooden stakes to the front yard, opened the door to chop firewood, and the villagers watched, feeling much more at ease. Bai Xiaomei cares about the opinions of the villagers. The counter has reached 899. There are still 100 moves left, it's really difficult to manually upgrade the system. But for the sake of our lives, the faster, the safer. "Dahua, your posture is not right." The woodcutter who passed by put down the firewood and demonstrated it to Zhu Dahua personally. "You need to stand on your waist and legs like this to have strength, otherwise you won't be able to chop twice." "Okay, I'll do it." Zhu Dahua was chopping firewood in front of the door, while the elderly in the village who had nothing to do brought a stool to look. Those who do rough work are experts. The combined strength of the waist and back can cut quickly. If that doesn't hurt my neck, I'll just chop and rest for a while. Big flowers are really diligent and never stop. Zhu Dahua really wants to, dare you. It's okay, I want to finish these before the staff member comes back. The staff member has raised a good daughter. The guard walked recklessly all the way, observed for a while, and said, Mr. Bai will not return to this village. I will take over this house. Zhu Dahua, move out immediately. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. System Level 1, Open Treasure Chest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 System Level 1, Open Treasure Chest. The envoy has already completed the land deed related matters, and this house now belongs to Zhu Dahua. The guards are trying to grab it, but it's hard to beat a group fight with both fists. They can't really grab it. Without waiting for Zhu Dahua to speak, the villagers saw them coming fiercely and protected the weak Zhu Dahua. You said you want her to move out, where can she go as an orphan? Why doesn't Mr. Bai come back? He has been raising Dahua for 10 years, and it's easy to give up. The villagers do not believe what the courtyard says. The guard had no intention of explaining, and a group of people entered the room. The leader pointed at Zhu Dahua's nose and said, You'd better move it out yourself, don't let us do it. Zhu Dahua nodded and said, I'll chop up these firewood and leave immediately. Believe it or not, the group will each find their own room to settle down. Dahua, you can stay at Danyang's house for now, and when the officials come back, they will be treated accordingly. It's okay, said Zhu Dahua. It's all scattered now. Dahua still lives here, and the staff member will come back in a few days. The guard changed his face, held a food basket, and came out to forcefully pass it on to the villagers. The villagers brought their food with joy and went back to their homes. After everyone was sent away, the guard smiled and asked Zhu Dahua, where are all the pills given by the envoy hidden? In the box in the main room, the staff member said it was toxic and couldn't be eaten. You can't eat it, we eat it. The caretaker was proud and dug out the pill. Zhu Dahua's well-differentiated pills were messed up, and regardless of whether they were taken orally or applied externally, all of them were given to the stomachs of the guards. Zhu Dahua was shocked. Is it really okay to eat like this? Manually close your chin. Eating horizontally and vertically will not lead to death. No matter what happens, chopping firewood is the right thing to do. 998, 999, 1000, congratulations to the host for completing the task. Accumulated effective chopping of firewood 1000 times, system upgrade successful, now at level 1, opening mall, task panel appears, reward junior treasure chest *1, please check carefully, name. Zhu Dahua, main profession. Not yet started cultivation, sub-profession. Woodcutter, achievements obtained by chopping firewood 1000 times, professional skill. Chop LV5 spirit root. Removed, attribute points. 10, can be used to activate any inferior spiritual root, with a 30% chance of success, item. Junior treasure chest *1, Zhu Dahua carefully examined the panel, the more attributes activated, the more advanced the spiritual roots become. Can I activate another one even if my spiritual roots are dug out? The matter is of great importance and cannot be ignored. The spiritual root is the innate source of practitioners and the foundation of postnatal cultivation. Without a spiritual root, one cannot practice. The spiritual root level ranges from inferior to ultimate, with a total of 9 levels. The higher the level, the more attribute points are required to activate. How to deal with top-quality spiritual roots. Need 1000 attributes, there is everything the host needs in the mall. Do you want to check it now? Let me take a look. List of level 1 mall. Xiao Huandan *1, 100, ordinary marrow wash pill *1, 500, premium marrow wash pill *1, 999, iron axe head *1, 500, excellent chopstick knife *1, 999, introduction to alchemy *1, 100. The cumulative number of times the host chops firewood is 1000 times the number of chopping firewood can be used for shopping in the mall. There's no spiritual root here either. Accumulate attribute points and activate spirit roots. Spirit roots are not for sale and cannot be purchased by chopping firewood multiple times. Zhu Dahua is speechless, speaking to the system, we still need to work hard to adapt. What is the difference between an excellent chopping knife and a regular knife? Said Noble. Same as in the world of banyan trees, chopping knives and axes, the higher the level, the more attribute points will be obtained. The level of artifacts is divided into ordinary, inferior, medium, superior, excellent, and top. Grade. Ordinary can obtain 1 attribute, while top. Grade can obtain 20 attributes at once. Zhu Dahua's question arises, asking, is it always possible for me to go to the banyan tree world, or will there be limitations as my strength increases? At present, there is no spiritual energy in the host's body, and there is no limit to the number of times one can freely enter and exit the banyan tree world. After the host enters the cultivation stage, as the realm increases, the damage to the banyan tree world will increase. The banyan tree world is self-protection and may make any counterattacks. The 4 stages of cultivating immortal realm. Cultivating Qi, building foundation, golden elixir, and yuanying, host location. Mortal plus normal splitting blade equals 1 attribute plus heavy damage. Harvesting attribute points is equivalent to the host's comprehensive strength combined with the weapon level. That is to say, there is no limit to entering without cultivation. Even if we exchange 10 small return pills and harvest them based on their current attribute points, what can 10 attribute points do? Only a top-notch spiritual root with 1,000 attributes can soothe a fragile soul. Excellent firewood cleaver, thank you. Excellent chopstick knife has been received, please check your account. The cumulative number of chops is 1. Host completes achievement 1. First consumption. Obtains. Surprise chest *1 file go, if you're willing to deliver, give more. There are 100 compartments in the item list, and the first 3 are on. Open the beginner's treasure chest. The treasure box bounced out and shook a few times, and after a towering light, the item list turned into 4 lights. Lower grade chopping firewood knife *1, beginner's guide to Qi practice to slam the door *1, I don't have anyone else's luck anymore. Open the surprise box. The special effects have come again. Xiao Huandan *10, oh, it's like splitting a penny into 2 halves. Take out the excellent chopstick knife, I'm going to try whether it's fast or not. A chopping stick fell in front of me, and the delivery was not too fast, it was just a bit fierce. The blade is pitch black all over, simple and unadorned, very suitable for hitting the stuffy stick. The guards were howling, and Zhu Dahua couldn't resist her curiosity. She secretly glanced at them and saw a group of people scratching their faces. In just a few moments, their flesh and blood were blurred, comparable to zombies. Enter the world of banyan trees. While there is no limit, how many attributes can be used and how many can be used? The landing point is the relatively thin branch. Zhu Dahua contains a small pill and uses a new knife to cut towards the golden thread. With a muffled snort, I was not shaken off this time. Attribute plus 10, add a 0 directly. 100 small pills can activate the top. Quality spiritual roots. This speed is not bad. Using 10 small pills to exchange for 153 attributes, Zhu Dahua learned about critical strikes. The attribute harvest is uncertain, and around the 97th time, the prompt sound of attribute plus 34 suddenly flashed. So how to increase critical hits? There was no response from the system regarding this, and Zhu Dahua's withdrawal from the banyan tree world was already the next day. System, clock in. Host successfully checked in and obtained. Xiao Huandan *1, in the world of banyan trees, I don't feel like time is running out, but I found my life direction. Cultivating immortality, starting from chopping firewood and laying a foundation. After activating the top-notch spiritual roots, the future path is likely to be much easier. In the house, the courtyard guard is empty, and Zhu Dahua enjoys the empty house alone. Wake up from sleep and go to the main room to check the hidden pill. Due to her lack of magic, Zhu Dahua placed the genuine product in the sandwich layer to avoid the pill being taken away. The fake product with a rotten face is probably separated from erysipelas by Bai Xiaomei. They snatch first, but still want people to be gentle with them. System, can you put these in the item list? System Level 1, capable of, Decon-Lick Bag, all the items that can be used are packed in the inventory list, but unfortunately there are only 100 or so positions, and clothes of different colors can only be placed in one compartment. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Bai Xiaomei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Bai Xiaomei. The choice is very difficult, perhaps due to the low system level, which is why each item has its own column and cannot be merged. Zhu Dahua is very certain of this. Silver of the same weight occupies 2 squares, which is too luxurious. Even the lower grade spirit stones look the same, occupying 1 square. Chopping up to 10,000 times, System Level 2, can merge similar items, Main Task 2. Obtain Spirit Roots, Content 3. Light up spirit roots of any attribute or level, System Panel. Name. Zhu Dahua. Main Profession. Not yet started cultivation, sub-profession. Woodcutter, achievements obtained by chopping firewood 1,000 times, professional skill. Chop LV5 spirit root. Removed, attribute points. 163, can be used to activate any ordinary spiritual root, with a 50% chance of success. The requirements for activating Task 3 are: activation of the host's spiritual roots, System Level 2. The reward for opening Task 3 is Surprise Chest *1. Upon hearing the prompt, Zhu Dahua felt a slight pain in her waist. The physical strength of an ordinary person can currently reach a maximum of 100 points, and forcefully chopping can only cause a slight decrease in waist strength, resulting in the inability to accumulate points. In the golden autumn, it's almost winter. Find a job chopping firewood, accumulate points, and provide food and accommodation at the same time. Take it slow. Isn't it true that check.in parties always win by lying down? It's not right to be impatient. Besides, I still need to grow taller. The system checks in and rewards 1 small return pill per day. If you accumulate 1,000 attributes, that is the ultimate spiritual root, which only requires 80 to 100 small return pills. Afterwards, introduce qi into the body and use the Na ring to pack these things. As much as possible is beneficial. It's better not to have an ordinary spiritual root. I have my own opinion on not activating the spiritual root temporarily. Zhu Dahua sat in the yard counting things. The door was kicked open from outside, and with a loud bang, a group of people blocked the door. Miss, you have to make the decision for us. Zhu Dahua remained calm, put away her excellent chopping stick knife, and stood up. The guards were wrapped in white cloth and looked very badly injured. Embracing a woman in white, slender and spotless, wearing a hat and a white veil covering her face. Seems familiar. Oh, I remember the ghost that drifted past the door on the day of measuring the spiritual root. Zhu Dahua took out the clerk's notebook, flipped through it to supplement her blood pressure, and asked, "Is the newcomer Bai Xiaomei?" Decades of spiritual stones, elixirs, and top-grade fire spiritual roots, the ultimate recipient is her. This is our young lady. The master's family is here, so be sensible and leave the loot behind. Kowtow and beg for mercy, Miss can still let you go. If not, I'll call you pretty. Our young lady is a master of practicing qi in the 3rd stage, it's easy to take your life. The shouting was quite intimidating, and Zhu Dahua rubbed her ears. Seemingly stable, in fact, a group of extremely panic and anxious. It's too early to fight friars. Still 3 paragraphs. It's important to hit a hammer and protect your life. It's not too late for a gentleman to seek revenge. Shut up. Bai Xiaomei couldn't stand these dog bullies, but, I hate Zhu Dahua even more. It's disgusting to have reached such a state of cultivation solely relying on this ugly resource. Teach her a lesson, she thinks her hands are dirty. The guard was scolded, and each one was as quiet as a chicken, but their eyes glanced at the pill bottles lying on the ground, their expressions greedy. Zhu Dahua remained silent, and Bai Xiaomei had no attitude either. The guard's face was full of flattery, secretly poking and encouraging Bai Xiaomei, saying, "Miss, Zhu Dahua has turned the world upside down. If you don't teach her a lesson, you'll still be fine. Just pack up and ask the master to come back, and the master will be back." Bai Xiaomei doesn't think so. She can't bear living with Zhu Dahua in this countryside anymore. If we can get rid of the countryside and Zhu Dahua, we can wake up with a smile in our dreams. On the contrary, it is necessary to let my dear father, Bai Yuanwei, die of the idea of continuing to suck the blood of the master's family. The world is vast, and there is no way to rely on oneself. At this moment, if Zhu Dahua is offended thoroughly, Counselor Bai naturally has no face to return to the Zhu family. Bai Xiaomei's eyes rolled and she intended to take action. But looking at the villagers in front of them, their eyes twitched. Put on the fairy's airs, calmly speak up and give orders. Zhu Dahua and others have committed crimes, relying on the kindness of the staff and deceiving others recklessly. We have been hired to guard the courtyard. If we can teach her a lesson, I will definitely thank you. Miss, you're welcome. It's my duty to share the worries of the master's family. Zhu Dahua saw how much Bai Xiaomei cared about her image, and suddenly felt happy. If it was done well, she could extend her life for another day. This is truly good news. One of the guards stood up and spoke the words of justice, laying a verbal battle order against Zhu Dahua. Zhu Dahua has no attachment to this house. Whoever she loves lives in it, but after all, she has written her own name, which can nourish her hands a little. How can I keep an outsider from going home? The outsider will only go out for a few days. Don't talk nonsense if you don't want to live with me. As for the following offenses, do you recognize your own identity? Others don't understand, but Bai Xiaomei understands and is not ashamed of it. Bai Xiaomei held her breath and steadied her voice, saying, "In my Bai family, you are just like that. My dad can provide you with food and shelter for the dog he picked up. How dare you deceive him? If you don't take action yet, follow the proper family rules." The guard drew a stick and struck it from left to right, making it look terrifying. However, those who use martial arts are always easier to deal with than those who cultivate immortals. System: take out the inferior chopping stick knife. The firewood knife appeared out of thin air, and a drop of cold sweat slipped from the forehead of the guard who was ahead of him. Zhu Dahua is now able to cultivate immortality, lying down. The other guards exploded in an instant. It's just a mess. Bai Xiaomei was even puzzled. Impossible, Zhu Dahua cannot achieve the ability to bring qi into her body. She doesn't even have a spiritual root. Don't panic. Miss, it's better for you to come, we'll just deal with an ordinary person. The guards stood cautiously behind Bai Xiaomei. Zhu Dahua pulled out the knife and put it on her shoulder. Have you said enough? Breaking in early in the morning and talking endlessly about whether to fight or not. How to deal with the third stage of qi cultivation. Online waiting, urgent. Host, detected mutation. There is a strange magnetic field around Bai Xiaomei. The host is too close and may experience a decrease in qi. Please try to stay away as much as possible. Before Zhu Dahua could ask, he saw the famous double standard. The closer people get to Bai Xiaomei, the more friendly they are towards her, and the faster they change their faces. Zhu Dahua, what's wrong with you occupying the young lady's house and not letting her in? Fourth auntie, what are you saying? It's just that Zhu Dahua is getting too extreme. Zhu Dahua is quite concerned about the attitude of the villagers, as ordinary people should live together and heretics are prone to danger. Now that you have become a heretic, you don't have to worry about the villagers anymore. Saving your life is crucial. Bai Xiaomei let go of her worries. With the help of the villagers, there was no need to personally deal with Zhu Dahua, as it could make her hate Bai Yuanwei from now on. She said a few words and the villagers gathered around. The system speaks again. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. The Good Person Card. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. The Good Person Card. Insufficient system level. The other party is suspected to have a reincarnation of a certain superpower, and the born resources are skewed. Before Zhu Dahua could protest, she was carried and thrown out of the village by the villagers. The inferior chopping firewood knife flew out, and Zhu Dahua quickly dodged. Put it away. Immediately after, the sky was covered with rotten vegetable leaves, stones, and fecal balls. The villagers were full of fierce expressions and malicious words, and the attack was like rain. Zhu Dahua had to run away with her hands. It's really embarrassing to leave the village like this. It may have done a lot of harm to the villagers, so we need to lure Bai Xiaomei out and scold her. What kind of biased birth resources? No reason to grab resources from mothers. Not far away, Zhu Dahua met the wandering grandmother and glanced at her, then walked straight over. Grandma caught up and said, Zhu Dahua, has Maya returned to the village? You won't go see it yourself? Zhu Dahua was too lazy to talk to her, but Grandma kept asking, has that employee returned? Can you contact the agent? Where are you going? Are you looking for the agent? Ask Bai Xiaomei. Don't follow me, said Zhu Dahua, whose liver qi was depressed when she asked. She stood and turned around, stretched out her arm, and made a virtual scratch on the ground with her fingertips. I dare not go. Mayor hates me, and I dare to go back without the staff. Have you brought out the food? Can you share some with me? I haven't eaten or drunk all day and night. Zhu Dahua stood with a mournful expression on her face, took out a food bag, and mechanically gave her a nest head. Grandma is Bai Xiaomei's biological mother, but she has a lot of grievances and debts, and she is not a rogue and won't vent her anger. Have you finished eating? The old lady gulped down a nest in a few bites, then took a few gulps of water from her pouch and nodded. Zhu Dahua tugged on both sides of the food bag rope, gave it a bolt, and said, take them all and wait for the staff member to come back. If you're willing, just say more of my kind words when the time comes. Dahua, I only found out when I was in trouble that you were a good person, said the old lady with tearful eyes as she took the food bag. D. Good Person Card *1, Host illuminates achievement. Do one good thing every day. Reward. Good Person Protective Cover *1, Good Person Protective Cover. Used alone, guarding the host for 1 day at a time, immune to any attacks during use. Cannot be stored, ready to use, with a minimum interval of 30 days between each use. Well done. This is the cheat that has been credited to the account. Take revenge, do not stay overnight. Dahua, why are you going back? Mayor hates you more than me. Zhu Dahua walked all the way to the village entrance, and the people dispersed. They took out a bag of loose candy and immediately attracted many children, saying, throw it into the Bai family yard. These are yours. The children all had a runny nose, bit their dirty hands, and stared straight at the candy. I dare not. Sorrow and music spread from the village. What happened? Those uncles were poisoned and gone. Oh. How did you deal with me just now, and how will you deal with Bai Xiaomei later? The adult asked, saying I threatened. After finishing the task, I'll get the candy here. If you want to eat, go quickly. The children glanced at each other and ran away one by one. A small handful of things that cannot be eaten during the Chinese New Year is enough for them to do anything. Zhu Dahua arrived at an open place in the wilderness, while Bai Xiaomei arrived, as if waiting for a long time. Zhu Dahua, how could I not have seen you so mischievous before? Bai Xiaomei turned around and took out a larger bottle, which was black and pitted. She was wearing white gloves and holding it. I know you want revenge, but you can't do it at all. This is the elixir extracted by my father from the Zhu family's elixir. Although it can ruin the face and make it impossible to see people, it can still be considered a chance encounter. Unable to bring spiritual energy into your body, returning to the Zhu family is also a fate of being bullied. Why not become a demon cultivator? Oh, how do you become a demon cultivator? With a triumphant expression in her eyes, Bai Xiaomei said confidently, these are 12 elixirs. You can take them in 12 days and I will extradite the spiritual energy for you. You can follow the path of the devil. Show me. Taking the bottle of erysipelas, Zhu Dahua laughed and bent down to place it on the ground. I've seen it, but I refuse, she said. Bai Xiaomei was angry and said, how dare you play with me? Use that trick to find me. If you want revenge, let's take a look at how much you weigh. No one will even know if I'm here to destroy your body. How do you know I can't do it? The excellent firewood cutter descended from the sky. Bai Xiaomei looked at the pitch-black knife with its eerie shape and quickly gave up trying to snatch it. She said, the magic weapon is a perfect match for you. She turned her hand and grabbed a jade sword. You deserve to die when you hear about immortality. After speaking, bring the sword. Practice qi in 3 stages, use qi to control the sword, and the sword speed is extremely fast. The imagined heart that pierced through Zhu Dahua did not exist, and the sword seemed to be blocked by something, unable to penetrate half an inch further. What means are you using? Bai Xiaomei recalled her sword, turned around, and ran away. Zhu Dahua immediately set off to chase after her, but when she saw Bai Xiaomei turning back, a chill came from her back. Zhu Dahua didn't care at all, and the excellent chopping stick blade fell straight down. Bai Xiaomei didn't dodge until the blade was about to strike her. Just rely on you, free range for decades, you want to compare with me. Bai Xiaomei appeared behind Zhu Dahua and casually withdrew her jade sword. Taking advantage of the situation to attack, but being bounced off by a good person protective shield. Zhu Dahua, don't harm my daughter. Grandma ran up the mountain slope and lost everything along the way. Zhu Dahua, Bai Xiaomei stabilized her figure, her murderous aura prominent on her body. One of the 2 jade swords flew away, piercing the grandmother's heart. Grandma froze in her movements and fell to the ground. Bai Xiaomei, she is your mother. Zhu Dahua stated the truth. Bai Xiaomei raised her eyebrows and said, yes, my mother. You killed me. Take your life. The wind blew open layers of white gauze, revealing a stunning face, with cool eyes filled with hatred, happiness, and jealousy. The jade sword attacks are increasingly fierce, but it cannot damage Zhu Dahua by half. Similarly, Zhu Dahua was unable to attack her. The distance between ordinary cultivators is like 2 dimensions of life. Before long, Bai Xiaomei spurted out a mouthful of blood. Dao Xian has become chaotic and has gone astray, Cultivators indiscriminately kill mortals, heavenly punishment. Before the system could finish speaking, Zhu Dahua rushed forward with great strides. In front of Bai Xiaomei's astonished gaze, she said solemnly, hand over everything that belongs to me. I didn't originally want it either. With a wave of her hand, Bai Xiaomei covered the ground with jade bottles and boxes. As Zhu Dahua looked around, Bai Xiaomei was enveloped by the formation and meditated in place to regulate her breathing. Zhu Dahua glanced at it and immediately cleared the item list by 8%, putting these things inside. Lingshu grass *15, 7-leaf ice jade flower *1, Xiaohuandan *108, Xiaohuandan, take it out, I'll use it now. Zhu Dahua saw the gap and only hoped to cultivate immortality immediately. Taking advantage of Bai Xiaomei's breathing adjustment, enter the world of banyan trees. At the moment when her figure disappeared, Bai Xiaomei opened her eyes and a surge of abundant spiritual energy cleared her mind. She broke through the 4th level of qi training in place. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Premium Golden Spirit Root. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 10. Premium Golden Spirit Root. Hundreds of small pills, even more surprising than a surprise treasure chest, we must fight more in the future. Zhu Dahua touched the rough trunk of the tree, holding an excellent chopping knife, patted the trunk, turned around to the thinnest branch of the banyan tree, containing a small pill, and chopped it. The slender branches of the banyan tree were split more than 50 times before the golden thread disappeared. The branches of the banyan tree broke and rapidly withered. Attribute *19, Zhu Dahua searched for a slightly thicker branch of the banyan tree, which was thicker than her ankle, and moved her muscles and bones to continue chopping. No matter the year or the year, I chop and chop, every time I hear a pleasant reminder sound. Xiao Huandan replenishes both physical and mental strength throughout his body, with each blow emptying his full strength. When he feels mentally tired, his smooth breath fills his limbs and bones. Like a perpetual motion machine. Unfortunately, there aren't enough pills, otherwise we could really give it a try. The wind brushed over the tree tops, the leaves rustled and cast mottled shadows. Zhu Dahua squinted her eyes and looked up, smelling the warm sun but couldn't see it. Attribute *12, attribute *17, attribute *7, the host attribute has reached 1000, increasing it further will not be able to store it. Do you want to activate the spiritual root now? Wipe, it's only 7 o'clock, I swallowed about 10 in one breath. Zhu Dahua is too lazy to read, anyway there are many attribute points here. What are the spiritual roots, and which one is faster, better, and more economical at most? Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth are the spiritual roots of the 5 elements, as well as the branches of light, darkness, ice, etc., which can be freely configured or single cultivated. Spiritual root single cultivation is the fastest, the more it is, the slower it is. It is easy to die early when in conflict, and it helps to strengthen the body and play steadily. Please customize the configuration for the host. The entire interface is full and there is still a lot to slide down. With so many choices, it's difficult to make a choice. Since we make a living by chopping firewood, then it's better to control the metal properties of wood. Premium Golden Spirit Root, thank you. Host activates Premium Golden Spirit Root System Panel. Name: Zhu Dahua. Main occupation: opportunity is about to arrive, sub-profession. Beginner level woodcutter. Professional skills: Chop LV10, Alchemy LV0.5, please ensure that the next alchemy has a beginning and an end. Reminder: if you give up halfway next time, your current alchemy experience will not be able to be entered. Spirit Root Attribute: Premium Gold, easy to hit critical hits, attribute points. 0 out of 1000 chopping frequency. 93/10,000 host completes main task 2 content 3. Lighting up any level of spiritual roots, counter upgrade to level 1, congratulations to the host for completing the first stage, all task contents. Reward: Intelligence *20, next, please upgrade the host system level to level 2. After the system upgrade, the main task 3 will be activated. 10,000 chops of firewood. Chopping firewood is so tiring. Zhu Dahua stared at the column of the top. Quality Golden Spirit Root, looked at it again and again. It's time to see what kind of effect you've worked hard to brush out. Speaking, he picked up the excellent firewood cutter and chopped it down at the branch of the banyan tree. Attribute *11, not really. Zhu Dahua had a habit of swallowing Xiaowadan, but found that she still had at least half of her strength. Yoha, my physique has increased. The level of spiritual roots does not count as strength, but it can double the strength based on the foundation. That's great, coming of age early. I still have 16 small pills in my hand, all of which have been used up, and my attribute points have reached 233. Zhu Dahua withdrew from the world of banyan trees and saw the tremendous changes in the surrounding scenery. Being in an unknown wilderness, her heart thumped. System, don't mess with me. I'm a cute newcomer now. The little wolf demon is deep in the forest and can clock in. Does the host clock in? Zhu Dahua held an inferior chopstick knife and said, check in. While observing the forest, how should we get out? Successful check.in, obtained. Lower grade alchemy furnace *1, a small alchemy stove has appeared in the item list. This is a joyful thing. But the system, did you throw me in a dangerous place? Here are all trees, so you can exchange coins with your hands. It is impossible to chop firewood with peace of mind. It's okay to find the village to help with work, it's not possible to be alone in the wilderness. Zhu Dahua couldn't recognize the way back to the village. Ahem, the sky is setting late, and the sun is slanting in the western sky, with a rosy sunset for thousands of miles. On the cliff, several black dots move horizontally. Zhu Dahua glanced at her and turned around, walking in the opposite direction. She didn't see anything. As a woodcutter, it's impossible for me to kill life. Right, the system. Zhu Dahua speaks boldly. The system doesn't answer. The wolf on the cliff turned down the mountain. Until the sun completely sank into the mountains, Zhu Dahua suddenly felt that the atmosphere around her had changed. A murderous and bloody smell. The heavy curtain of the deep forest was heavily suppressed in darkness. Woo! 2 hidden flames appeared behind the tree, followed by more than 10 wolves, big and small, walking back and forth behind the tree. Zhu Dahua immediately found a big tree, leaned against it, and faced the pack of wild wolves. Having the ultimate golden spirit root and entering the wolf's belly, even geniuses are prone to premature death. Enter the world of banyan trees. Zhu Dahua and Guoduan dodged. Entering the world of banyan trees at this moment will miss the opportunity for enlightenment. Will the host enter the world of banyan trees? No. You can still save it. The wolf pack was the first to launch an attack, and Zhu Dahua raised her lower-grade chopping stick knife over her head, piercing through with all her might. Experience *10, Zhu Dahua's body feels invincible with a single blow and a wolf's head. Experience *11, experience *9, critical strike. Experience 23. Zhu Dahua dealt with the wolves that came forward, and there were a few hidden behind the trees. System, when will the opportunity you mentioned appear? On the little wolf demon peak, countdown. A burn of incense. How long was that? Zhu Dahua looked at her position and then at the mountain peak partially hidden in the darkness. Run. The wolf pack closely followed, but dared not attack, not too far away or closely following. Bai Xiaomei flew over from mid-air, her flying sword hovering and looking down, frowning and saying, why didn't the wolf eat her? I can do without anything else, I must have this mysterious opportunity. The wolves stopped, glanced a few times, and scattered to flee. Zhu Dahua ran and noticed something unusual, but her body did not stop running, but went straight up to the mountain peak. Bai Xiaomei was chasing and hovering. In the depths of the little wolf demon forest, there is a wolf den, and it is rumored that there is a big demon sitting there. Zhu Dahua doesn't know, it's a good thing that she didn't catch up. Taking the opportunity to climb to the top, it was already dark in the forest, and on the mountaintop, it was the last ray of sunset that sank into the mountains. Zhu Dahua gasped for breath and her heart beat like a drum. Lowering his head, he found his lower abdomen shining with golden light, shining like a lamp on the mountaintop. In the distance, 2 meteors slid down from the sky, and it was Bai Yuanwei who had been missing for a long time. Bai Xiaomei moved further away and came with a sword. What kind of opportunity is this? System, you're cheating me. Seeking collection, comments, tips, recommendation tickets, and monthly tickets for influencers. End of this chapter.